Alrighty, I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:04. Stand and say the pledges. Pledge allegiance
to the flag
flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, and justice for all.
This is a special meeting of the Board of Finance as we're not able to come up with a quorum on September 18th. Attendance, appointment of alternates. We have enough to make a quorum. We have 5 members here, no alternates, so we'll go with what we have. To have a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as,
Can we update the date? Does that matter?
You got an agenda with the right date.
Okay, all right, then we're
Yeah.
good.
Um,
What is that? Oh, that scared me. I thought there was an alarm going off.
Made a motion, was made and seconded. Is all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to approve the minutes of our Board of Finance meeting from August 21st.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from our Board of Finance regular meeting minute on August 21st, 2024.
Second.
second,
I probably should have asked ahead of time. Is there any additions or corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye.
aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public participation.
Amy, you got something you need to admit?
Public participation, anybody? Okay. Communications, I have none. Amy?
Okay, then,
Okay. Monthly reports, moving right along. 23-24 town fiscal financial reports, sorry.
all right, so the letter from Mike came with this new agenda. I will be making a change. Right now, we have an excess cost of 59,780, and that was the difference in our reconciling of the interfunds. And that needs to be reversed, so the town side will end up eating the shortfall, according to Mike's email.
And that was interfund from,
That was the interfund that was in 8G, the reconciliations.
okay,
Those papers all showed that we were $59,000 off.
okay.
So
Gotcha.
we had booked it and they hadn't,
Okay.
but Mike said we have to do it, so we will be doing it.
Good.
That's the only change that I have in 23-24. I think the numbers are pretty much the same numbers you guys saw last month also.
Yeah.
Where you have a return on the town expenditure side of 119,491.98.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions on that?
Good. We'll kick on to 24-25.
And 24-25, we are in good shape. We have collected, I want to say 50%. We have collected 57.47% of current taxes.
Kind of early, but anyone have any questions, on anything? I mean, it's,
Yeah, I have no ideas on revenue items that we're not expecting.
any other questions?
Has any specific questions?
It's kind of early to everything.
And then expenditures, the only one that we have a transfer for this month is tied to registrars. And I included some information on there. IRS has said all poll workers have to be employees. So we instituted it for the July primary. And so I need to move money to the actual salary line because we didn't have a salary line. We had them as professional services, as independent contractors. So there's 2 transfers, one to cover the part-time staff that's working the office with the change of the registrars, and another one to move monies to cover the poll workers for the rest of the year. That's all I have for 24-25.
Because while you're on the registrars, not for tonight, but just as an FYI for something that's likely coming. The total printing budget that the town has is $6,000. The registrars have used up 2,000 of that already, which was certainly not something that was expected. So there may come a point in time as the fiscal year rolls along where we'll need additional transfer to printing to cover that.
Okay.
Never mind, I'll ask this later.
We can, no, ask questions if you have a
It's not
question.
really, it's just more about the employee piece, like that, where, when, that, like, how did that come about?
Because of early voting.
Yeah.
Now people work more than 40 hours in a week. So somebody asked, do they have to be paid overtime? And the answer came back, yes, they need to be counted as employees and you need to pay them overtime for any time they work over 40 in the week. So what, somebody sent me does this pertain to us, ... And I Googled the IRS and sure enough, they all have to be employees.
So even if it's someone that doesn't work a full week.
Doesn't matter.
Interesting.
If they're working our polls, they now have to be employees.
All right, so they'll no
And
longer,
that started July.
will they no longer get a stipend? They'll get
Right.
a set, like a.
Well, it's still a stipend. It's still like $325 for the day for a 16-hour day. But yes, if they work more than 40 hours, we have to calculate an overtime rate and pay them for anything over 40 hours as overtime. Which we did not budget that way either.
Right.
And do we have enough people so that we don't have to be paying overtime?
Well, it depends. Somebody who works all 7 days in a week for early voting, because it's 2 14-hour weeks, or 2 7-hour or 7-day weeks, because it's 14 days in total. They're gonna, if somebody works all the days, they're gonna hit overtime. And I don't know that somebody can substitute like for being the registrar or being the moderator or the head moderator. I don't know enough about it, but I'm thinking that you're gonna pay overtime no matter what. And we did not budget that way.
That's a lot of extra money.
Yep.
Good old fashioned unfunded mandate.
Can,
To me, we should be able to find enough people to not have to pay overtime.
I don't know that we have people qualified to do the specific jobs.
people volunteer and not be paid?
Yes,
Okay.
that we went to legal counsel and asked the question, and yes, you can volunteer and spend your day there for nothing.
Any other questions? Okay, we will move on to Board of Education 23-24.
So we actually had cancellation of our financing as well during this time period. So our board of ed actually hasn't really got a explanation from our finance subcommittee yet. So I know we have our finance subcommittee meeting rescheduled for next Wednesday. So the plan was to have that meeting, get the financials to the board of ed, and then provide you guys with more up-to-date finances. The next meeting, I think, is we're looking at August updates. So basically, your regular meeting in October, you'll have September.
Yeah, 2 weeks from tonight.
Okay. All right, so we will have the final one, and it'll be in 2 weeks. So, okay. And I assume as you could just,
So Simon, I did have some additional information just to provide. That's us. Just like our research on it, just as for information purposes only.
Thank you.
Only because I know it'll continue to come up. So one of the things I provided was it's all 169 municipalities and the adjustments they have on excess cost. And we understood why it came up this year is because there was a greater discrepancy this past year than previous years. We anticipate it may continue to be a trend. So certainly like full transparency, wanted to show like our research on that. We did meet with Ms. O'Brien, did meet with Amy and Jason, and they've continued to be a resource to the school district. We're obviously pleased that we came to a common understanding with the use of the auditor. But that being said, like I would anticipate adjustments going forward just based on how special ed fluctuates. And you're talking about our highest cost in kids. So certainly you can look at that as your leisure, but provides additional research background as far as our work and correspondence.
okay. We will look this over when we have an opportunity. Thank you. 24-25, same.
So
So you'll update us in 2 weeks then. Very good. So that moves us down to fiscal year 23-24 transfers. And this is the one that Amy uses to balance out all of her accounts at the end of the year. We don't have to do them as individual, we can do them as a block.
And I'm happy to report that there's not any between departments. All departments are positive. So it's just between lines within each department.
Okay.
So each department could cover their own shortfalls.
Okay.
Nobody overall is in the hole.
So they're on pages 8B, 2, 3, and 4, I believe. Yep. And like Amy said, they're all just moving within lines just to balance out shortfalls and overages. So we can do this as one motion we need to put the dollar amount in there, or, yeah.
I would.
The dollar amount is $507,500.31 to balance the lines within the department. So do I have a motion for transfer request number 60?
I'll make a motion for request number 60 to balance out all the departments of $507,531. Balance out departments.
Thank you.
Second?
All right, is there any questions or further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of transfer request number 60 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That was fiscal year 23-24.
So
That's okay. I didn't think of it because we have both of them in here this time. So. And that should be the final one for 23-24. So. All right, we'll move on to fiscal year 24-25. And this is one we kind of just had a brief discussion on earlier, but we have a motion for transfer request number 14.
I'll make a motion to transfer 48,000 from election workers to transfer election worker pay from professional services to wages as required by the IRS.
Yep.
And we just discussed that.
Yep. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, any further discussion? We kind of touched it on earlier. All right, seeing none, all those in favor of transfer request number 14 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And request number 15, also for registrars.
I'll make a motion to transfer $4,000 from election workers to part-time salary to transfer, to cover the cost of additional office staffing assistance for registrars. And like both of those were 24-25 budget.
Second.
Second, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of transfer request number 15, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. That kicks us down to 8G for reconciliations. Amy?
So the 59 that was in here, we'll take care of, so that will go away. So interfunds will be balanced within 45 cents
Okay,
for fiscal 23-24. I have not looked at 24-25.
okay,
And bank recs, I think we're probably through July on our side. I don't think we've gotten to August yet.
okay. Very good.
23-24, I know. Message from Amy today that that's a small, we have to go back and take for 23-24, but other than that. Just reconcile it and, I think we're 25, that's just upload the DAI files in the last couple months, so we basically just have to go in there and manually reconcile any small variances. And then I was able to work with Amy as far as coming up with a better strategy for reconciling the interfunds, so we'll be working on those as well.
Okay, very good. Any questions?
No, but thank you, Amy and Brian, for working together on that.
Alrighty, that moves us to number 9, Board of Selectmen. And Jason.
First up, I think is a request from the fire department for an added appropriation from their fund balance. Cover the installation of a new locking system on the Brunswick Fire Department. I'll turn to the chief if he has anything he wants to add, but I think the reference pretty well speaks for itself.
Yep.
Yeah, we have two lock systems on the first. One's 25 years old. We have a new one that's about 15 years old. They don't speak to each other. So what we're doing is we're completely putting in all new locks with the entire firehouse. That's seniors and everything.
Mhm.
Everything's done on a key fob.
Okay.
We got Whitford doing, who does the work at the town hall here.
Right.
We use them since day one. And you just, the second page is an iCloud bill. System's gonna be on the iCloud. This bill will be in our budget every year from this point going forward. What it allows us to do is if anybody who has a key fob for the firehouse or the senior citizen center goes back to the computers, it'll be on three chiefs' phones. So if somebody has to get to the firehouse, say a contractor comes and has a key fob to get to the firehouse,
Mhm.
needs to get in the back room. I can do it from my phone. I can give him a 3-hour window to get his work on the firehouse in the back room. Right now, if I give a contractor a key fob, his key fob is on 24/7.
Mhm.
So it's not a really, there's not much security with the system we have right now. We can turn off the fobs that are no good anymore, but there's still tons of fobs that people, contractors have, business have. Money is in our unfunded balance.
So you'd have increased security basically is a big benefit of the new system.
Now, with this system, Tom, when you need to actually give a contractor a fob, or can you just unlock the doors from the cloud?
Yes, have a fob.
He has to have a fob.
And most of our contractors all do have fobs. And so it's a very simple process. All you do is you just stop and punch in the computer who it is
Right.
and give it.
And you can limit all his access to now.
You can go to one door
And that's it.
come in the side door, that's it. And we did the whole building, so when the seniors move out, it's the whole building's done, instead of having half the building done. This is all the outside doors are in.
Gotcha. All right. Any further questions?
Questions?
Now, if someone comes into the senior center, does something, you'll have access and be able to give them access with.
They'll have those, Melissa's gonna have those are the keys to take care of her own people. For both stairs.
So will she have access to give a certain access to certain areas?
I do believe so.
Or is that all gonna be through
Well, it could
you?
be we could do both for now. But she can probably have her own access for her own thing. I'll just put it on her computer. Then when they move out, we activate the keys and get the keys back.
And then you'll have
Oh,
all the control.
And you can reassign the fobs to different people.
yes, we can, yes. Yep. So we do now when a member leaves, we shut his fob off
Okay.
and rearrange it to somebody else.
And your request is $23,220.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Any further questions? All right. Do I have a motion for this, let's say additional appropriation?
I'll make a motion for the added appropriation of $23,220 for the lock system project for the Broadbrook Fire Department.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the 23,200 additional appropriation of $23,220 for the lock system of the Broadbrook Fire Department, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next step.
Board of Selectmen has to set a town meeting, right?
We've already.
Oh, you already said it?
Recommended it for town meeting, so it's just a matter of scheduling it. That's actually going to tie in with the next thing. Right for me?
Rob, I'm ready.
Okay, so we want to talk a little bit about capital project opportunities and the utilization of local capital improvement dollars, which are state dollars that are provided to the municipalities in Connecticut, as well as our CNR unallocated. I want to talk a little bit about each of those. If I can make this thing slide. Okay. So LoCIP dollars, as I said, there are state funds. We have approximately $270,000 available. But that comes in two different tranches of money following two different sets of rules. It used to be that LoCIP would take, you would do a project that was qualifying based on the parameters outlined in the statute, and then you would submit to OPM for reimbursement for that project. They have changed it so that now you can do projects upfront so long as they're on your approved CIP list. So because there's two different sets of rules that comprise the dollars that are available, we're going to take all of them through a town meeting process because that way we're absolutely in bounds with what the LoCIP requirements are. So looking at the projects that we're recommending, these are all, I believe these are all on our current CIP list. So first of all, the police department has had a remarkable run of bad luck in terms of police cruisers. They're down 4 on the year. Some of those are faulty repairs or they're going to be reimbursed to the town through insurance, but they're down 4 cruisers. And so one of the things that we're recommending is that some of the loss of dollars be used to acquire one additional police cruiser. The next project is to finalize the police department security upgrades. This was something that was partially funded through CIP at the outset of the fiscal year, but there weren't enough dollars to complete the whole project. So the recommendation is to take 28,000 of the available funds and finish that project. As you all know, we've made a significant investment in East Windsor Park and now at Osborne Field and Volunteer Park. And we're looking to spread those improvements around to Prospect Hill Park in Prospect Hill and Pierce Park in Windsorville. These would be smaller scale park improvements, but that's the next step in moving forward on those plans. The dog pound repairs and compliance with state regulations has been a project that predates my time in office. We have been working away at it, but the $14,000 that we're requesting to fix the roof on the pound would complete that. And that project would then be in compliance with the state regulations and up to date, and we could then close the books on that. Excuse me, the last one is for gazebo and grill replacements at town parks. This is another project that was included in the CIP, but not fully funded. And these bring the total allocations to $272,000, which is within our available balance. So this is an eye-popping number, and when I first saw it, my eyes popped too. But we have $668,000 available in capital and non-recurring. And my first thought when Amy came in and showed me that number is, how did we get there? But those funds come into CNR unallocated one of 2 ways. Either they come from projects that were other CIP projects that have been closed out and the balance remains, that gets swept back into CNR unallocated, or it's accrued interest on our capital dollars. And as everybody knows, we have had quite a bit of available capital dollars on hand, and interest rates have been high. So we actually returned, was it $400,000?
480,
That's quite a bit of interest, and we're likely to see
1 year.
a smaller number than that this year, but still not an insignificant number. So that gets to what we're proposing to use. So back in June, I had brought to you a request to install 2 digital signs, one at the town hall and one at the police department. There was $35,000 per sign that was available for that. The electrical costs associated with that would require that we increase that funding by about $7,500 per sign. And some of the pricing changed too, but the upshot is we need an additional $15,000 in total to do both of those projects. Now, in the alternative, if you opt not to move forward with that, or if the town meeting opts not to approve that, we could simply do just the one. We have the funding to do just the one, but that seems like doing really half the job. So the request is for adequate funding to complete those at both places. The police department has taken the lead on looking into fiber internet connectivity. And there are state dollars that are available. Actually, there are ARPA dollars that are being administered through the state for municipalities to connect to CEN, which is the Connecticut Education Network. And that would basically allow the town to optimize higher internet speeds, particularly on uploads and downloads. That's very important for the police department because they have large files. You know, now that they have the body cameras and dash cameras that they need to record, they need to upload those. Those are significant in size. And this would make our town-wide, town government-wide internet speed faster. So the build out for that is anticipated to be, I think, $106,000, if memory serves. That would be free to the town. That's paid for through ARPA dollars, again, administered by the state. But we would need to sign on to an agreement, and we would need to pay $8,400 per site in order to pay the long-term usage costs associated with that. And the sites that we're intending to have with the fiber optic connectivity are town hall, the police department, and the community center. So that 8,400 times 3 is how you get to the $25,000 ask. Did I miss anything on that, Abe?
I don't think that math works. I think you need 25
Is it
something.
8,200?
I don't know.
You're off by,
You're a little short if it's really 84. I can't
I'm amenable
remember.
to increasing it by the $200 if you feel so inclined, but I'm in the ballpark with what those numbers are. The fence along the Reservoir Avenue side of East Windsor Park is an old chain link fence. It is in a state of disrepair. What we would like to do is to replace that with a timber rail fence that would be still provide some perimeter protection in case somebody decides to drive in there and, wreak havoc, but it would also be a bit more inviting and aesthetically pleasing, and kind of complete what we've been trying to do in terms of improvements to that park, visually. And that's the next thing is from a practicality standpoint, our waterfront, is experiencing higher levels of bacteria, particularly after rains and during warm weather. That is, the warm weather part in particular is when the waterfront is most needed. And because of the bacteria levels that are present, because of the heat in the rain runoff, that waterfront, it has been closed too much. And that problem is going to persist, going to get worse. And what we're trying to do is develop a shovel-ready project that will allow us to go after state funding, particularly funds that are available through DEP for the mitigation of that problem. So we estimate that the engineering cost to develop a permanent solution to that would be $125,000. Hang on one second. There you go. HVAC renovations would complete. That would complete the updates that are being done to the HVAC system at the police department and here. That's been ongoing for a number of years. We're asking for $300,000 to be redirected back to pavement management, road paving. That is, as you all are well familiar, that is the first place that gets cut every time that budgets gets lean and we need to hack a CIP project. It is inevitably roads. But now they're actually at a point where they don't have enough funding to move forward on their road projects. That will have a pretty quickly will have a noticeable negative effect. So we're asking for a little bit more funding for that. The cemetery repairs is another one of those projects that we had secured funding for in the springtime. When we brought the pavement management company out to look at the conditions of the roadways in the cemeteries, they said, yep, we can do it for the amount of money that you have. And we'll be back out here again in 5 to 7 years doing it exactly the same way. Or you could spend, it comes out to be 54,000 in total. So that's 27 plus 28 gives you a little bit of cushion there, but 54,000 to actually redo the road from base, which means this problem will go away. We won't be in a circumstance where the town is throwing good money after bad. And the last item is to acquire a new drone for the police department. You'll require that back in April, Chief Carl appeared in front of you and asked for funds to be transferred from his personnel salary line to be used for the acquisition of 2 drones to support an emergency management program. We have purchased those 2 drones, and what we're looking for is a third one so that we would have one embedded in each of the fire departments and one available to the police department. And they would be kind of working in synergy. The other thing that would allow us to do is to train our members of our new CERT team, which is going to be starting next week, I think. What's that? Oh, is it tonight? I had my Wednesdays wrong. So CERT volunteers would be able to help in operation of that and as well. So those are our requests. Again, all of these would go through, and here's the funding summary. All of these in both categories would go through town meeting, and if approved, then would be acted on. You can do some of them, you can do all of them. I'm asking you to do all of them, but if there are some in there that you think don't make sense, then we're open to that too. This allows us to spend down our available LoCIP dollars and the CNR unallocated on projects that have been identified either through our CIP process or with a public safety concern.
I do just have one question on
Fire.
this, on the cemetery repairs. I'm just wondering, is there a cost for the quote? Like, is there a reason why we didn't do that in advance of asking for the dollars?
We didn't ask for it.
Well, I know it came from the cemetery, so I'm just wondering, like, that would just be something I think in the future, you know, if you're gonna ask for
They,
the right amount.
they had asked for.
They've been asking for years.
I think $52,000 for a town contribution. We reduced them to 25 with a commitment that
Yeah.
we would try and find the money for them to do the paving and the tree removal work. Their quote was just, I don't really know where theirs came from. They're an agency of the town. They're not a department, but when we brought the person out there to do the estimation, he said you could fix it short term or you could fix it long term. And that's what the request is.
And I think they've been asking.
They have been asking.
They've been
a long
asking for a
time,
long
yeah.
time on CIP, I think, for.
Yeah,
To repair those roads.
Cemeteries have?
I think so.
well, they've been asking the Board of Finance.
They ask for more money every year than we
Yeah.
give them.
Yeah. Other
I think
questions?
They use.
The,
driveway.
Water fund, didn't we, and I know you're looking at two different things here, but didn't we approve a while ago something for the dam engineering and all that stuff? Was that all tied together or would it be tied together?
It is not really tied together. So Representative Foster secured funding for the town to replace the spillway.
Okay.
That's kind of at the end of the problem. What we're trying to use the money for is to design a solution for the middle and the beginning of the problem. It's very likely that whatever is causing the bacteria spikes in the warm weather is coming from upstream. And the spillway that you're talking about is at the end of the street.
Yeah, I remember we just, if that's going as a project to be fixed, that the engineering dollars of that's probably already been spent and the project's already,
Not done yet.
it's not done yet.
No, Len is still working with DEP on that.
Okay.
I think the other dam is the one down here on Depot. That we did the $500,000 replacement of that wall because it fell in.
No, this is,
Yeah, that's a different body of water.
yeah, this is over there and it was probably 4 or 5 years ago that.
Oh, yeah, we're still waiting. That's the spillway.
Yeah, that's the spill.
It was a grant.
Authorization, Representative Foster got us money for the spillway and for the culvert replacement on Highland Ave. That's another project that's still in design. That one with comments from DOT.
Okay.
So we are deep into the
Looking
alphabet.
for-
Well, yeah, because the bridge that crosses in the center there it's a state road, so that would be, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense to look into how do we fix the problem because the res is used so often, especially during the summertime and it causes,
I'll say almost entirely jokingly, the alternative would delight Noreen.
I know, a pool.
Turn it into a-
I was thinking of, I just want to say it out loud.
I vetoed that like before the words left Melissa's lips and then actually started thinking about it and there is some merit to that. I don't think it's the best solution, but that would be a solution. But that's also something that the engineering study could show.
Okay. Any questions, George?
I'm good.
Tom?
I'm okay with that.
Nicole's thinking, I can tell.
What was Pocket Parks? I don't, was that,
Pocket parks are smaller versions of playgrounds at Pierce Park and
Okay.
Prospect Hill.
okay,
Including things like paving a couple of parking spaces or
Okay.
putting in some benches and as well as some smaller scale playground equipment.
Okay. Thank you.
Right?
That was it. I just,
The only other question I have is when you say grills and gazebos, is that like, can you just give a little more detail on that one?
It's exactly what it sounds like. It's replacing the grills that you see up along at the res now.
Okay.
Or putting in gazebos like the one or the
at the,
Shade structure at the
structure that we have right next to the splash pads.
Splash pad.
oh,
Okay. Gotcha.
And if you're looking for details on that, it was included in your CIP books from last year and this year.
Yeah,
which your CIP books are in the other room for those that haven't gotten them yet.
Oh, I thought they had them already. I'm sorry.
okay, yeah. I think I got one. Okay, any other questions? All right, so to move this forward, would need 2 motions, one for the LoSiP to move to town meeting and one for the CNR to move to town meeting?
That would be great.
Okay, so your LoSiP number, because it's not right here, so I can write it down so we can get the motion right, was 270?
I'm sorry.
The
72, what was the amount for LoSiP versus
70?
CNR? 270.
272.
I was gonna say that, that's a,
72? And the other one was 628, I think you said? I was at the beginning of your presentation. Or 668. Little, that quick. 115. 235. 85.
639.
639. Okay. I have a motion from the board on the LoSiB projects.
Make a motion for the LoSiP funds to be transferred in the amount of $272,000
And forward it to town meeting.
and forward it to town meeting.
Second.
Okay, further discussion or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
George?
Oh, yeah, aye.
Okay.
Said it at the same time.
Alright. Opposed? No. Okay, motion carries. And do I have a motion for the CIP projects from the unallocated money in the account? In the amount of $639,000, sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve the $639,000 be spent from the capital non-recurring on the projects presented and forwarded to the town meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you all.
Thank
All
you.
right. Gonna be a busy town meeting.
Do we have a date yet? Or, okay.
All righty, and Patrick,
Sir, so I'd like to give updates to share regarding the school district. So since the last time we met, the week of September 16th, the middle school cross country team came in first for girls, second for boys, and the first meet. That same week, Brook School kicked off their highly popular monthly mileage club with students and families actually exercising music throughout the building 5 to 6 p.m. This Friday at the high school, also the first scholar check-in, and that's where students can participate in career goal setting with volunteer staff members. Also, very pleased to share last Wednesday, I was in a Alliance District meeting, which included 34 district superintendents, which represent 44% of the state's student population. And East Windsor was recognized for its academic work, specifically on early literacy by the two top-ranking officials under the Commissioner of Education, and we were the only district recognized. Construction of the high school track is progressing nicely. If you want to check our Facebook page. And then in our partnership with the East Windsor Police Department, our SRO, Lindsay Valencia, has started the second consecutive year with the fourth graders on the DARE program. That's started off well. The deputy chief conducted student presentations last Friday at our middle school to proactively help our students understand what a threat is, its impact on school safety, and the role social media plays in impacting schools and school safety. And my understanding is those presentations went very well. Also regarding East Windsor PD, signups have been completed to begin the high school explorers program. And certainly we appreciate the support with the Broadbrook traffic control with increased police presence, enforcement speeds, and the use of crosswalks. And then also hopefully for a reminder for anyone that's listening, next week is parent teacher conferences at all 3 schools, Wednesday through Friday.
Following week.
It's next week.
I hope not.
Okay.
The 16th, 17th, yeah,
Yeah, 2
it's next week? That's not,
weeks.
it's in 2 weeks, yeah,
2 weeks, sorry. Thank you.
that's what I was like, I'm 16th is my copy. That's all right. Me-
October just started, sorry. Far ahead, thank you.
And next week we have, well, there's two fundraisers going on. So one, the PTO currently is holding a pie fundraiser, which people would have time for Thanksgiving. Also certainly appreciate any support for our schools through that fundraiser. And our seventh grade is raising money for field trips. So anyone that is planning on being hungry and wants to go out to eat next Wednesday, we encourage you to eat at Jersey Mike's and field.
That place is so small. Go early.
And that's our updates.
Very good, thank you. New business, unfinished business, I have none here.
If not,
Board member comments? No,
Really?
All good.
All good, alrighty. Our next meeting will be in 2 weeks, October 16th, right along with parent conferences across the street. So,
Yes.
and with that, motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn.
Just an FYI, Friday night at 6 o'clock, we're gonna be doing the ribbon cutting for the lights Abbey Road. If anybody wants to come, it's after. And then I think some great stars beginning, but before, 5 girls can do.
Yeah.